Hey everyone, Mr. MCA here. This is a lap guide for the new lap time challenge taking place at Grand Valley South in reverse with the 1932 Ford Roadster. This is a 2-week online time trial event ending at the end of March 6, 2024. We're using a fully stock Ford Roadster on the sports soft tires. Your goal is to get within the 3% time range or the world record time when the event ends, as that is when your lap time gets counted. And you want to make sure you don't hit any walls or go off track, as that will invalidate your lap time. Here are the in-game tags if you want to access my replay in-game. I'll also leave a link to the replay in the description down below. But now let's go on over to the lap guide. Alright, so as we get started, quick few things I want to mention. 1, this Roadster only has 3 gears. 2, you only use second and third gears with this truck and car combination. And 3, when you're on second gear, you shift up from second gear when the bar is at around 25% full, as the car's power peaks at around 3000 RPM. But anyways, now as we get started with the lap, you want to turn in when you reach the 100 feet board. Yes, we're using the Freedom units here. But anyways, turn in at the 100 feet board, going flat out, but as soon as you're about to hit the apex of turn number 1, so pretty much as soon as you're pointing towards the sign on the other side of the track, that is where you start to ease on the brakes, but you're using around 25 to 50% braking power. That way the car can still be well behaved as you go through this first turn. So you're doing quite a bit of troll braking, and you're going to be braking even harder for turn number 2. So basically turn number 1 sets up for turn number 2, and you're braking before the 200 feet board. So right here is where you go out full braking power, staying on third gear, turn in before the tunnel ends, and as soon as you hit the apex, so when you're going under the WeatherTech banner, that is where you shift down to second gear. That way you can get some additional rotation and slowly get back on the throttle. You're staying on the left side of the track because your next turn is a right turn. So you're braking and turning in before you reach the track marshals on the right. If you have the driver markers assist on, you can use that marker as your braking and turning point. So you're going to stay on second gear for just a little bit longer, trying to hug the right side of the track, getting on the throttle as soon as you can. And you want to bring yourself as far as you can to the right because you're turning into the left almost right away. So you're going to go up to third gear and try to go through this turn flat out. If you're going in a little narrow, you might need to do a little lifting off our throttle so you don't hit the cones and get your lap time invalidated. Bring yourself towards the left because your next braking point is just before you reach the 200 feet board. So you're going to go down to second gear, turning in before you reach the white barriers that are on the left. So these white barriers. Going down to second gear, trying to stay towards the right side of the track because you have a left turn coming up right away. Just nice and careful getting back on the throttle. Turn in just as you go under the Grand Valley Highway 1 arch, and as soon as you hit the apex, go up to third gear and go flat out. Now right here, you're going to really play with the track limits because you're going to be as close as you can to the solid white lines. That is the track limit. Go flat out through this left turn, turning in a bit more aggressively than what you might think because you want to try to straight line it through this section, trying to use as little steering input as possible. Then bring yourself towards the right because your final braking point is just before you reach the 100 feet board, and actually you can brake just a hair bit earlier than where I start to brake. You're turning in just as the bridge starts to turn left, and you can stay on third gear for this turn, just trying to bring yourself towards the left side of the track, and you can be a little aggressive with your throttle input because from here on out you're just going flat out to the start finish line. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wait a little bit as we get ready to cross the start finish line. Just give it a moment, and there we go. Now let's go through this again, but this time I will not stop the video. Alright, so your first turning point is the 100 feet board, and as soon as you're pointing towards the sign on the other side of the track, that's where you start to ease on the brakes. So doing quite a bit of trail braking, a bit harder on the brakes right here, just trying to maintain control of the car, trying to keep the car well behaved. Then brake before the track marshals on the right. going third gear through here, trying to go flat out. You might need to do a little lifting off our throttle if you go through that turn a bit narrow. Bring yourself towards the left. Brake before the 200 feet board. Trying to stay as close as you can to the sand on the right. Turning in once you go under the Grand Valley Highway 1 arch. Through here, it's pretty much flat out, really playing with the track limits, which are these solid white lines. Again, flat out through here, turn in a little bit more, that way you can set yourself up for this area where you want to try to use as little steering input as possible. Bring yourself towards the right, and you're braking before the 100 meter board. You can get away with staying on third gear if you're like me, just lazy to shift down to second gear because that's too much work. And bring yourself towards the right, and go ahead and just go flat out. You're kind of just waiting until you reach the start finish line. Any moment now. And there we go, just poking into the 118s. We'll see how this lap time compares as the weeks go on, but that is all for this lap guide. If you like this video, you can press a like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But this is Mr. CA, the world's most OK player, and I'll see you in the next video.